You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis on all things sports. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, subscribe to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports, and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Are you looking for a place to listen to your favorite music and sports? Look no further. WLSN, the Lieb Sports and Music Network, is a web-based music and sports network. Our network was created to provide authentic, high-energy entertainment through live streaming to a national audience. We play popular music while hosting podcasts from all over the world. Curious? Check us out on the web at liebsports.com. That's LEEIB sports.com. Or find us on the TuneIn Radio app. Got Alexa? Just say, Alexa, play WLSN on TuneIn. WLSN is America's #1 blog-themed sports and music network.
Hey, everyone in, let's go. Huddle up on 3. 1, 2, 3, huddle up.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night. If they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
The Eagles will keep the offense out there in a 4th and goal from the 1.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Hold on. Here we go.
I would feel better at this point taking the 3 points.
Here we go.
And if you make it, it's great. But if you don't make it, it's a big momentum swing.
Philly special. Ready? Here we go.
Goes directly to Clement. Clement reverses it. And it's a touchdown by Nick Foles.
Let's go.
Russian 3, dropping 8. Uiagalelei steps up, now loads and throws. It's caught. It's pitched backwards, up in the air. It's on the ground, still in Clemson's hands. And now it is down. It is over. And the Irish have knocked off #1 Clemson. And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
We did it our way, baby. We did it.
Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Huddle Up Podcast. We are live on Tuesday, September the 7th, 2021, and we are glad to be back with you. Kyle Nash joining me, the student of the game, back with us here on a Tuesday night. We may have Dave joining us. We may not. Only time will tell on that one, and we'll obviously get into it, but that Notre Dame beating #1 Clemson clip, especially with the backup quarterback, sounded a lot better before this past Saturday, but that's neither here nor there.
We'll get there.
Make sure you follow us on social media. We're at Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook and Twitter. Our Instagram is at Huddle Up Pod. Make sure you subscribe on all podcast platforms and YouTube as well. Our home network, NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com, and our secondary home is the Lieb Sports and Music Network, LEEIB Sports.com. Student of the game, Kyle Nash. Welcome back, my friend. How are you doing this week?
Hey, listen, it's great to be aboard. And, listen, I can make all the jokes about the Tirico call on your intro I want. Like, it's very interesting going through that Philly special call. As I'm listening to it through the intro, the guy says, I would take the 3 points. MFers, I would have taken the 3 points. I think that's what makes that play so sensational. Is I realized, listen, this is Tom Brady and the Patriots. They're going to get lucky if we don't get lucky first. And there you go.
Right, and we go back to it, and the reason I put that clip in there this year, because I got flack from the Eagles fans that are normally on this program, and because, it wasn't updated, and I had the Phillies clip, so I thought, what's the best Philly football clip that I can put on there? And when you're talking Merrill Reese, Eagles fan or not, you can hard pressed to find a better voice calling NFL radio. But yeah, I mean, I think I remember back, and my brother, of course, being the Eagles fan, and the thing we talked about at that point was to win that game, you were going to have to out Belichick. You were going to have to, if you were going to beat him at that point, you were going to have to show how big your nuts were. Yep. And what was the meme that was going around was the guy from South Park with his nuts in the wheelbarrow, and it was Doug Peterson showing up to the Eagles Super Bowl parade. And that's what it took. Sometimes that is what it takes to win in these big game situations, especially against a established team.
And what's funny about that is we're sourcing that play being from Philly, as it should be, but that actually came important in two aspects of Orlando history, believe it or not, right? The following season, when UCF would have their win streak broken after the successful 2017 and 18 regular seasons, they go to Pitt. They beat UCF on the last play using the variation on the Philly special, right? So that's the Orlando tie-in there. Then the Alliance of American Football, the AAF, that was going on there for that single season, that's much to my chagrin. Man. The Orlando Apollos scored their first touchdown using the variation on the Philly special. Now, Steve Spurrier, former Gator coach and coach of the Apollos, who can say now he's 1-0 in two different league inaugural games in the AAF and the USFL. There's some history for you, bitches. He said it wasn't a variation on a Philly special, but like I think the name was like Orlando special or something like that in the playbook. Long or the short, there are your tie-ins from the city of brotherly love to the city beautiful here, Orlando. There you go.
Yeah, no doubt. And I always love, like, I have behind me the New York, New Jersey Hitmen flag.
Sure.
Gotta always appreciate some of these secondary leagues. I've actually enjoyed, I think it's ESPN2 or ESPN News has been airing CFL games every weekend. So I was watching the Saskatoon Blades and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this past weekend. So always fun. I have a great story. We were up in, my family and I were up in Toronto when I was a kid, and the Toronto Argonauts, they play at the Sky Dome, and there's the least there was, I don't know if it's still there, Hard Rock Cafe in the stadium overlooking. So they had a deal when the Argos played that if you spent, I think it was like $40 a person, something like that. It was like all you can eat, all you can drink.
Oh yeah.
Sort of deal, watch things. So like we went in there, and there was my dad, because he was a high school football referee in our area. So like he was aware and loves football and sports.
My dad too. That's funny, but keep going.
Yeah. So, knew some of these weird different rules about the CFL. There was a family from Green Bay that was like sitting right next to us, and these guys couldn't figure out why the goalposts were in the front of the end zone, why there was a 55-yard line, why the field was so wide. It was hilarious to see. But yeah, I mean, that was a blast. Like I would get that deal anytime, anywhere. I mean, it's all you can eat, all you can drink, and you're probably going to have me hooked in. But let's get into it here, Kyle. Looking at this past weekend before we look ahead to two games in college this upcoming, it's obviously it's always hard to gauge from week one. But did we learn anything? What did we learn? I joked about it, but the biggest result of this past weekend, Georgia beating Clemson. No offensive touchdowns in the game. It was a pick six and a couple of field goals. So why don't we start there? Did we learn anything from Georgia and Clemson? I'm inclined, I mean, at the very least, to say the easy answer and say Georgia defense good. Clemson defense good, or at least pretty good. I don't know what the Georgia offense is, but in the same time, I go, I don't know what the Clemson offense is. I mean, we new quarterback and some change in personnel there. So I've seen people going, is Georgia going to be able to, upend Alabama? And I'm like, let's chill. It's week one. You can get excited if you're a Georgia fan. Get excited. I'm not trying to take that away from you, but if you're going to beat Alabama, you're not just going to do it by playing defense. You're going to have to put points on the board. But yeah, let's start there.
I mean, when it comes to Georgia, first of all, you always have to be careful before using that term learn. Okay. What you did learn is that some things you knew were true are confirmed. If confirmation counts as learning, you got a lot of that from that game, right? Clemson's offense isn't going to be kind of what it used to be with, Trevor Lawrence in week one. Not really exactly a shock. And you mentioned, Georgia defense, good. SEC defense, generally speaking, pretty
Fair.
damn solid. Let's be clear on that. And we got more of that confirmation. Georgia not shying away from the big spotlight. That's something I learned. That's something I noticed. And while you could say what you can about Georgia in that situation, we have seen past years when we're getting hype from their quarterback position, especially with JT Daniels and such with Georgia, right? Getting big hype from the quarterback position. There's at least one particular current NFL quarterback who is a significant factor that came from Georgia recently, right? He's one of the ones that made the NFC West really damn tough to figure out in my predictions this week. There's a teaser for you, bitches. And just incredibly difficult to figure out. But as it comes with Georgia, there's something that goes on. A quarterback gets hurt, has a bad game at some point and throws things off. And this had that written all over it. Had I had the opportunity to actually cover it in that press box, we did submit for it. We didn't get it. It is what it is. But I I thought this game would be at least close. I was confirmed there. That's what I learned. So we still have to learn about that offense. I haven't been smart enough to look up who's Georgia's playing next week. But I think maybe that's an opportunity to learn about that offense, because a game that intense in week one, there's not really a lot you necessarily learn about somebody. But by the same token, every now and again, people might question one of your predictions, and then you say, bring that ass on with your girly white blue shirt, and it backfires on you. I get you. And I say that as an Ogeron guy too. But by the way, I think we've learned quite convincingly that Chip Kelly could actually be the Bruins revitalization. That, I know I transitioned games and did a segue for you, sorry, you looked like you were busy, but,
I was getting Georgia as UAB this week, South Carolina the next, Vanderbilt. So we're not looking until October 9th, maybe Auburn, till we start to really find out a little bit more. Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, in the month of October. Those are when we'll start to find out a little bit more about the Georgia Bulldogs. But yeah, I mean, before we get to UCLA, because they're a team certainly on my list of things to talk about from this past weekend. But I mean, you, me, and friend of the show that I'm sure will be joining us at some point this season, EJ Christian, he said he was cheering for Georgia. I mean, I was cheering for Georgia. I don't like Clemson. I'm tired of Clemson. They're one of those teams I'm tired of. But I've seen Georgia, and I've seen Georgia for how many years in a row now. So I was waiting for that moment. I was waiting for that time where the wheels kind of fall off the bus. Consecutive pick sixes, a fumble, something. So do something. This is a Kirby Smart moment that he is going to screw this up, and they didn't do it on Saturday.
Right. No. I was cheering for Georgia for all those same reasons. And, I'm not one of these I'm sick of Clemson people. That's not where I'm at. But I do know that Clemson in and of itself would have an opportunity to recover more throughout the year, right? Like, they're going to dominate the rest of their schedule.
Oh, they're going to go undefeated the rest of the way.
Yeah. So, I mean, if and when they do that, I want them exposed just like that on the national stage, so we can show the world that the ACC was literally just Trevor Lawrence.
Sure. And I don't know if Sunday meant that Florida State's the second best team in the ACC, but what does that even mean? And time will tell on that. Time will tell on the Irish as well. Not going to talk about them, but let's talk about the UCLA.
Sure.
Let's talk about the UCLA Bruins. You had Ed Orgeron and company come out to the Rose Bowl. I think UCLA played Hawaii last week and kicked the doors off of them, and we went, okay, it's Hawaii.
I'm pretty sure I picked the over, the cover, and the over, the cover, and the winner, and all that. So nobody was shocked there. But
no, but what they did Saturday, I mean, they showed out again. And do we know what LSU is this year? I don't know. But UCLA looks really good. They look really good in the early showing this season.
Sure. Listen, in the Pac-12, I can make a case for it that I don't know I necessarily believe it this season, that the Pac-12 is worse than the ACC in and of itself. I certainly think they're worse than the American, but I say all that to say, Chip Kelly has dominated that place before.
I mean, Andrew, I can talk about them if you really want.
We will. Don't worry, Andrew. I'm not letting him off that damn easy. I don't give a shit if he's the host or not. Okay. No, obviously, listen, give Jim credit for strength. There's two reasons I'm on this show tonight, and it was long before Matt, aka the Huddle Up AJ Hawk, was unable to attend this evening. Okay. He has me here for one reason and one reason alone. Okay. I'm his Mackenzie Milton expert. That's why I'm here.
That's true. That is true.
And he even knows that with that sorry intro still being on there with Tirico calling, he still has me on. He's a brave man, and we're going to talk about that game. That was just a joke. Okay, let's be clear, Andrew.
But yeah, we will obviously.
UCLA, right?
Yes, UCLA.
Chip Kelly's dominated that conference before, and he's going to do it again. What more can be said at this point? And I think LSU is a good flexing of the muscles. I think because the SEC is what it is, and what happened, they're already writing stories about who is going to replace Coach Orgeron. Listen here, I think he's a great coach, and I have fun talking about Orgeron, and but when his teams don't make the tackle, that's what's going to happen. He's going into that football, hold that tackle. Anyway, so the SEC being what it is, people who worship college football, and B, who can't stand it when upstarts get involved in the league like UCF, both have happened. They're already talking about replacing him in LSU over there in Baton Rouge, and they've already floated UCF head coach Gus Malzahn as a participant. Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
Jeez.
Anyway,
man, the hot seats never really cool off with the big boys in the SEC. I guess
ain't that the truth?
It's just one of those things. Before you let me get out of talking or force me into talking about the Irish, one of the other big results in my neck of the woods. Penn State Nittany Lions going into Madison and beating Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Penn State had 46 yards at halftime and won that game 16-10. Penn State's defense looked good. They were able to stop the run, which if you can stop the run, you can usually beat Wisconsin.
Fair.
I think that result on Saturday said more about Wisconsin than it did about Penn State. I don't know what Penn State's going to be, but Wisconsin, and I never expect Wisconsin to be great, but there was at least a decent bit of buzz about them, and I think that buzz just got silenced. I think the better Wisconsin quarterback is now playing in South Bend. How they let Cone walk and stayed with Mertz, I don't know, but I'm not going to argue with it. But I think it's more. I think that result was more about Wisconsin than it was about Penn State.
Sure, and I think the reason why Wisconsin got a lot of the hype is because I don't think people really knew where else to go with it. 2020 being that odd, who was really thinking Indiana was going to hold on to it? And I mean, no offense to the Hoosier Nation out there, but listen, you guys are hardwood, not the field. Okay, that's not your natural habitat. And the fact that you did what you did in 2020 was great. But I don't think anybody was really prepared for you to kind of maintain that. And it's not your fault. The Big Ten's a good conference. But I say all that to say the same thing about Wisconsin. Like, who else were you going to hold up high? Penn State didn't have that feel that they were going to be those guys, although to your point, they may end up being. That's the beauty of college football, right? And who else am I going to hand it to? Michigan? No. Listen, I'm a pro Harbaugh guy. I don't think they should fire him either. And apparently so do a lot of Ohio State fans. But I mean, honestly, who am I leaving out that I would be confident in? Northwestern, right?
I mean, Ohio State's the obviously front runner. I said to friends of mine who are Penn State fans, I said, okay, so Penn State just put themselves in prime position to be the number 2 team in their division, which is another problem with the Big Ten is the clear misbalance of the division structure. That was put together for rivalry reasons and nothing else. But
correct.
Let's see, Andrew, Penn State fan here says, to me, it showed Penn State can make critical changes at halftime. The offense might not be a train wreck like it was last year. Possibly.
It's a great point that they only had one direction to go, and that's up. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean Indiana, they were a great story last year, and I think they're building. I'll say this: they're building as good of a program as they can.
Yeah. I think that's what I was trying to say. I was just too much of an a-hole about it.
Or maybe you win one of those games you might not supposed to do. You get to 9-3. Maybe you win a bowl game. You finish 10-3. Whatever. Yeah, that's a hell of a year for Indiana. I don't think anybody's looking at them going, yeah, they're going to compete for a Big Ten title. No, I don't think so. And for forgetting which side of the conference they're on, if they're on that Wisconsin side, maybe they do win that division. But I without looking it up, and Andrew may have the answer if he's still listening. If Indiana's on the Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State side, sorry, you're not going to take that division from anybody. Nobody at this point is taking that division from Ohio State.
Did you realize that you just said on Wisconsin?
No, did I? But finally, let's look at it. Sunday night was the primetime game in Tallahassee. I was shit talking Ernest for months now, and I got real close to eating my foot. So Notre Dame wins in overtime, much closer than I thought it should have been. But you go on the road, you win your first game of the year, and you can't go undefeated if you lose the first one. So Notre Dame did what they needed to do on Sunday. And a quarterback that you are very familiar with, my friend,
yes,
may have won a starting job because a guy lost his helmet on a play.
I mean, listen, I have no experience with teams I follow where a guy gets hurt and someone takes over as the starter. That's never happened before. I have never observed this at all in any of either, recent history or decades past history at all. It's never happened, Jim. I have no idea how to relate to this. Anyways, listen, y'all thought Alex Smith was a great story. Mackenzie Milton completing his rehab through getting on that field and playing. Forget about successful, okay? But getting that game to overtime was the difference. Now, I am going to address some of the Homer crowd out there who at least for that night were temporary, FSU fans, kind of like you were temporarily cheering for a team in the ACC last year, right, Jim?
Something like that. I try not to remember last year.
I try not to remember. Like, what? If that's true, why do I still have hear that Tirico clip? Anyway,
well, I remember that part, but that's the only one.
Oh, okay.
That game was on the schedule regardless. That game was happening whether there was a pandemic or not. Results may have been different, but that game was there.
You started drinking after that game. Got it.
Right.
Okay. Exactly. So, no, but with Mackenzie Milton, first of all, for those who don't know, it was 2018, the Friday after Thanksgiving, the traditional day to have what they call the War on I-4, right? USF, which is in Tampa, but they still call it South Florida. I don't know. I just work here. And UCF were playing.
That one out. My brother lives in St. Pete, and you're not. It's not South Florida.
Hey, listen, they
The
play at
Dallas
Raymond
Cowboys
James.
are in the NFC East, so let's not even try to figure out geography.
Oh, that's not even the worst one, but I digress, man. Listen. No, but so, but they're having their rivalry game and just a freak accident. People want to say it was a dirty hit. No, it was not intentional. But Mackenzie Milton gets hit with a planted foot right in the knee and has to go to the hospital immediately, first of all, so they could save his circulation. And then a ridiculous number of surgeries and years of rehab later, somehow, and a coaching stint to where he mentored current UCF quarterback Dylan Gabriel, by the way. He comes onto the field, steps on, and has the magic moment that he does to get FSU into overtime. Now, what ended up losing that game was not Mackenzie Milton, but the injury to the starting left guard. And, I was texting with Jim about this during the game, saying to him and his Notre Dame Fighting Irish, you had one job. But thanks to that starting guard, the Notre Dame coaching staff called for that blitz to attack that hole that was now filled by a backup, and it was not picked up, and Milton could do nothing. And that fourth down was forced, and that kick was missed. So, at the end of the day, a slight superior coaching edge. I like Coach Norvell, but here's the thing, and here's the part I can't quite get around. Now, I'll say this much. For everybody saying, but they should have put in Mackenzie Milton right away. First of all, you're not in practice. Shut up. Okay?
Right.
And apparently Mackenzie Milton was outplayed in practice. Reports from everywhere, all the people that I follow were telling me that, right? A, B. If you're Coach Norvell or if you're Mike Norvell, if you're the offensive coordinator, whoever you are, you're coaching with more than just that game in mind sometimes. And this quarterback was somebody who is going to be at FSU for the future. Milton is a mercenary who's likely going to be there for 1, maybe 2 years. I think the eligibility thing gets weird because of COVID. You get a year back, and it's weird. Anyway.
Yeah. I can't even try to figure out with some of especially with somebody with the injury that he had and what. Yeah,
I'm fairly certain. Yeah, for one, I'm fairly certain. He wasn't penalized injury for coaching a year. There's that. But what I'm getting at is Mackenzie Milton is certainly not the long distance future for FSU. So all these people are like, why didn't you just start him? That's why. Now, should he have started him at halftime for a spark? And people are like, well, maybe Coach Norvell didn't know what he could do. And I'll admit it, watching him on the field compared to how he looked taking snaps at UCF, maybe it's the brace, I don't know, but his gallop when he takes steps back from the center is still weird looking to me. But it may be just different, not weird,
Sure.
But for the people, again, I'm not questioning Coach Norvell. I feel like I know why he did it. But why I give the critics a bit of ammunition here, a little bit of credibility, is Coach Norvell is uniquely qualified to know what Mackenzie can do in a comeback situation. How is Coach Norvell uniquely qualified? He used to coach Memphis, the Tigers, a team that has been up big on UCF more than once. And at least one of those times, Mackenzie Milton was at the helm coming back against that ass, so to speak. Once in a championship game before they went on to beat Auburn to go undefeated by winning the Peach Bowl, and the Collie Matrix declared them national champions. So there's that. But yeah, if you suddenly forgot about all that, I can't help you, boss.
Right.
But yeah, just my 2 cents on that. And I don't know, can you tell me what happened to, I don't know, any semblance of defense for Notre Dame?
Dude, that game was really weird. I mean, on both sides of the ball, Notre Dame came out firing on offense, seemed to forget how to play it for a couple of series. The defense looked good for a couple. 183-yard run later. I'm hoping it was new defensive coordinator, first time in front of a loud full crowd in an entire season, and I think there are some freshmen or first year players that were starting or playing, so I'm hoping it's a combination of those sort of a thing, because that did kind of surprise me to see Notre Dame's defense, especially over the last handful of seasons, that it really has helped that team out. If they can find that defensive identity again, I was encouraged by what I saw from the offensive side of the ball, Cohen's ability to stretch the field. I said I thought that Notre Dame's offense looked more dangerous on Sunday than it has at any point under Ian Book, just because there was a threat of not being a 10-yard offense. So that's encouraging to me. We're not going to learn anything this week against Toledo, but we'll get there with the Irish as well. Plenty of time to talk about them. But yeah, hopefully the defensive side of the ball is just something something that was kind of first game jitters. But let's look real quick here, Kyle. A couple of games this weekend.
Dodge here. I'm not going to let you do that, because here's why I asked the question. Why I asked the question. The starting quarterback completed 12 passes, and only 75% of them was to his own team. That's why I'm asking. and you still gave up, how many points was it? 38, I think.
Yeah, there was too many points. 37. There was too many points.
37. Excuse me. Okay.
Too many points surrendered. Absolutely.
You
big
see what
players,
I'm getting at, and I'll leave it at that.
Big plays. But yeah, hopefully it was a first game jitters.
Don't worry. The committee still keeps you in the top 10, whether you belong there or not.
Exactly.
Anyways.
Number 12, Oregon. They are 1-0. They travel to number 3, Ohio State, who's also 1-0, 11.5 point home favorite for the Buckeyes. 63.5 is your over under. This one is the big noon on Fox. I mean, come on. It's a Pac-12 Big Ten. I mean, Ohio State's gonna roll with this one. I'm gonna take Ohio State. I'm gonna take the over. And I'm gonna even take Ohio State plus. I think they're gonna beat that 11.5.
So first of all, any game involving Oregon, you take the over. I thought that was written in.
That's not even a rule. That's a law.
Okay, right. So without being arrested, I can do that. And then I know that people are going to dog Ohio State for coming out against the Golden Gophers. And every year I got somebody trying to tell me how they're going to dig their way to the championship, and all I can think of is that you're nothing but the character that doesn't appear enough in Winnie the Pooh stories. I got it all the way down the line, over, and Ohio State covering and winning. That's where I'm at. Hey, if I get that wrong, I'm all about watching the chaos that ensues.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm all for chaos as long as it's not my team that is the reason for chaos. The other game I have on for this weekend is number 10, Iowa, 1-0 at number 9, Iowa State. Also 1-0, Iowa State, a 4-point home favorite. 45 is your over under. This one 4:30 on ABC. Well, I have Iowa State. If I remember back to our predictions, I have Iowa State winning the Big 12, I believe. Not that this is a Big 12 matchup, but I think I have more faith, or at least I have Iowa State near the top of the Big 12. I have more faith in Iowa State to win this game than I do Iowa. So I'll go Iowa State. I'll take them to cover the 4, and 45 is like a weird number. Screw it. I'll just go under, because why not?
Yeah, I mean, if it were me, because we're just pretending to be degenerates, so we're gonna pick something. But if it were me, I would not even touch that over under. Iowa State is not teams from Iowa aren't known for explosive offenses, and really, all this game is going to solve is which fan base gets more disappointed later in the year. Neither of these teams are going to stand up at their rankings, and I think it's ridiculous. They're both there. Granted, not as ridiculous as North Carolina still being in the top 25 after losing to Virginia Tech. Sam Howell, my rear end.
Well, but then further proving
I said it, Jim Nice.
Further proving that preseason rankings aren't worth the paper that they're not printed on.
Correct. I mean, it's more a statement of where their PR is at the moment, if you ask me. But I digress. For me, I'm with you. I think I like Iowa State just a bit more. I am going to take the under by default because of the offensive not being as explosive. Iowa's defenses are pretty good for a while until they play someone who's actually decent. But then again, you're mentioning the Big 12, par for the course. Shall we continue, sir?
We shall, and that takes us to the National Football League, week 1 of 18 this year, and we will look at that when we look at the over-unders coming up in a bit. There's no such thing as 500 in the NFL anymore, and man, Jason Garrett missed that bus by 2 seasons, didn't he? Week 1, let's start Thursday night where the banner gets raised. Tom Brady's 7th Super Bowl championship defense begins. It is my Cowboys. I've been dreading this week since the season came out, and I've had to see that damn Welcome to the Jungle commercial just played on repeat. But Cowboys at Buccaneers. Buccaneers 8-point home favorite. 52 is your over under. This one 820 on NBC, and I think also all NBC games are on Peacock as well this year, the streaming service. So if you pay for that, you get those. I want to pick the Cowboys so bad, but I'm not going to.
You don't.
I mean, I do. I wore. It's the Zach. Zach.
Hey, don't, dude. Look at this. Remember, don't act like I didn't notice. You're sporting an offensive lineman here on your show, and God bless you, sir.
It's the Zach Martin Memorial jersey because he is not in the lineup this Thursday. He is out on COVID protocol. Dak Prescott, of course, returning from injury. I'll say this, and maybe it's a preview of our next segment and our following one. I think the Cowboys are going, as long as Dak stays healthy, are going to be just fine this year. But you drew the short straw when it came to opening week. I think the Buccaneers are going to win this. They're probably going to cover that 8. I'm probably going to go over 52 because I feel like if the Cowboys are going to want to keep it competitive at all, the points are going to have to be scored. But yeah, I think the Buccaneers are going to take this one on Thursday.
Points are going to have to be scored. Brilliant. The good news is
I only pay for the expert analysis here.
That's right. I think the good news is after this game, the docket gets a bleep ton easier, my friend. That division is terrible, and I think you might be the only team in the division with a certifiable quarterback. Yes, sorry, Julius. I don't think Daniel Jones is as good as Dakota. Not yet, anyway.
Not by a long shot.
Yeah, let's see. Let's go down the line. They have the better offense. They have the better defense. Yeah, and shoot, dude, listen. This is just a bad draw for you in week 1. Tom Brady has not had a chance to hurt his knee or anything like that yet. You're kind of in trouble. So yeah, don't worry. You'll have better news later, but it ain't in this game. They're not going to cover, but I'm going to take the under because at the end of the day, I don't see the Cowboys giving up more than 45 points in the game. And I see them scoring a lot less than that. And we'll leave it at that.
All righty. Then we go to Sunday, 1:00 on CBS. The Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Buffalo. They're the 6.5 point, easy for me to say, home favorite for the Bills. 49 is your over under on this one. I like the Bills 6.5 though. I mean, I'd like to think Steelers probably going to be one of my playoff teams. Maybe they keep it under that. Maybe they beat the 6.5. I think the Bills win outright. I think we're going to see a lot of points in this game as well. I mean, I think both offenses have a lot of weapons. The Steelers defense isn't what it used to be. The Bills defense is good, and that's probably going to be the difference. So screw it. I'll actually go Bills plus, and I'll take the over.
You're going to take the over. I'll take the over, but I'm doing so begrudgingly. I really expect the Steelers to come out using Najee Harris a lot more, so I don't see them being quite as explosive as they would be if they were using Claypool and company. But for my money, I think the difference in this one is going to be the group that actually can get out of the way. Because, but you say what you say about the Steelers defense not being as good as they were, they're still good. TJ Watt is still a thing, for example. You know, I know they don't have Bud Dupree, but let's be honest. After that injury, he wasn't a whole lot. After that, we're still kind of trying to figure out where he really is. But the Bills win. I think the unfortunate thing for the Steelers is that this is happening in week one. And that is a tough ask to get such a balanced team that early on the docket.
Definitely. All right, then we go to 4:25 on CBS. It is the Cleveland Browns at the defending AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs, a 6-point home favorite. You know, the Browns obviously, you know, seeming to un-Cleveland themselves a year ago and really starting to put something together in terms of a full franchise. You know, hopefully I don't sound any warning alarms in the city on the lake there. I think the Chiefs are going to win this one, but I you know, I'm gonna be bold. Some might call it stupid, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna take the Browns to cover the 6 points. And I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go under. I think. I think you're gonna see both defenses coming out of the gate week one. I think they're gonna, you know, prevent these offenses from get rolling early. You might see some scoring late, but I'll go Browns to cover, and I'll go with the under.
What was the number for the over under again?
53.
Yeah, I got the over on that. I think it's going to look like I'm wrong in the first quarter, for the first half, even perhaps, because I feel like Andy Reid and company is going to take over that youth in the linebacking core of the Cleveland Browns. So look for a lot of handing the ball off, something you don't see a lot with Andy Reid, and look for a lot of work for to set up Travis Kelce. And once that happens, that defense is going to be complete disarray and then Patrick Mahomes the second goes to work. I don't think Baker Mayfield makes this offense explosive enough to compete in a shootout. This is still a running team. I don't care how much Baker looked last year. This is still a running team first overall, in my opinion. And a shootout is not where Baker's going to prevail. Baker is a game manager, not a gunslinger by any stretch of the imagination. Ergo, I have the Chiefs, and I believe they do cover. I think it's going to be, granted, I think it's going to be 7 points. It's going to be close. It's going to be a bad beat. Someone's going to be pissed. But I got the over. I got Casey outright and to cover.
All right, and then finally we go to we go to Jacksonville, where the Packers are a 3-point road favorite at the quote-unquote New Orleans Saints, obviously dealing with the impact and aftermath of the hurricane. So the Saints playing this home game in Jacksonville, home of the Jaguars. 50 is your over-under on this one at 425 on Fox. We know Jameis Winston is your starting quarterback in New Orleans. And unfortunately for him and the Saints, Aaron Rodgers is still your starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers at 3 points. And especially given that this game is not in the is it the Little Caesars Superdome now? I know they changed the sponsor. It's no longer Mercedes. I forget what the Superdome is now.
How the hell do you go from Mercedes to Little Caesars?
It may not be Little Caesars. I'll look it up while you're talking.
I hope you meant Caesar's Palace. I'm kidding.
No, I don't even think it's that. But anyway, Packers plus, and I'm going to go under because
no, you're not.
No, I'm going over. I'm going over. The Packers might score 50. The Packers plus and the over.
Just because Sean Payton's an excellent coach, he'll get them on the board at least twice. But I think Aaron Charles Rodgers or Aaron Charles Rodgers is the quarterback. They no longer have a Hall of Famer on the other side. And you didn't mention, sir, Michael Thomas out for the first 4 weeks.
Well, that's
yeah, this is entirely problematic. Packers win, Packers cover, got the over.
It is the Caesars Superdome.
Okay, so it is Caesar's Palace.
It is.
Yeah, okay, good.
I had the Caesars part.
Yeah, right. I mean, listen,
right.
They don't go from expensive cars to ghetto pizza. That's not an option.
Hey, I was half right. That's almost a passing grade.
Okay,
Okay, let's we're gonna go now. We're gonna look at the full season results. Let's get the crystal ball back out. You were here when we did this for the college football world. And we'll start in the NFC. We will go through the 4 division winners, the 3 wild card teams, and then we'll move to the AFC. So coming out of the East, this one shouldn't be surprising for who I am, and if you're really being objective about it, again, this is barring a quarterback's health. But if Dak Prescott can stay healthy, I don't think this division is contended. It's the Dallas Cowboys. The North, I think, goes to the Green Bay Packers. The South, I don't think there should be much surprise that it's the Super Bowl champions repeating as division champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and out West, the hardest division to play in and predict. I may be buying the Kool-Aid. I don't know. But I'm going with the Rams to win the division. My 3 wildcard teams, my wildcard 1 is the team that is on your backwards hat, sir, your 49ers. My second wildcard team, and this is weird because I'm looking over the rest of the NFC, and if there is a team that I think is going to contend with the Dallas Cowboys, it is not EJ's New York Giants, because Danny Dimes is Danny Dimes. The Eagles are in full rebuild mode, if we're being honest about it. I think it's the team that won the division and was the only team to be competitive against the eventual Super Bowl champion. That's the Washington football team. I think you're bringing back a great young defense. Hopefully your offense can continue to move. So I have them as my second wild card. And my third wild card coming out of the West is the Arizona Cardinals. So, Kyle, I'll go to you.
So I find it interesting that you have, in fact, 3 NFC West teams. And walking through it in the scenarios like I did, I'm going to do something even more interesting. First of all, let's get the leaders out of the way, right? I don't know of anybody that's brought the entire roster back before. I don't think it's happened, but I got the Bucs at the top of it. And it only has to do with Tom Brady in a supporting role. That defense is amazing. That offense is amazing. That offensive line is the best I've seen since Zach Martin was young. Okay. As far as its true full versatility from both players, young and old. Right. Next up, Aaron Rodgers is playing in a division where no one's gotten better. And in fact, a lot of teams have gotten worse. And the teams that did get better are stuck to contract stuff to where poor Justin Fields isn't going to have any more tools for at least 2 more years, in my opinion. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to be number 2. So 15 and 13 wins respectively for those guys, anyone who's wondering. In third place, I don't know who's actually coming out of this division. I have 3 11-6 teams.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say the 49ers because I don't think it's them. I don't. I think there's going to be a technicality where the team that they lose to is in the NFC. So they're going to lose on tiebreak. And I think the same thing is going to happen to the Arizona Cardinals. I too have the Rams winning, but this could be a matter of which games they decide to lose to. This is on a thread. Sure. And there's so much silliness going on here. I, as somebody who is a data professional for a living, has several anomalies taking place. The last of which are being, I am going to have the first year we have 18 games also marks the first year we have an entire division represented by or in the playoffs. I have the entire NFC West making it, right? Because you have 3 wild cards.
You do.
Okay. I have the Seahawks at 10-7, and the next best team in wins has 9. And that's your Dallas Cowboys, who's the number 4 seed. Okay. Nobody else in the NFC has 10 wins. I don't think the Vikings can do it.
Mm-mm.
The Saints aren't what they used to be. The Falcons, this damn guy. And until the Red Tails get a quarterback that I can believe in, no.
That's fair.
And there's so many there's so many anomalies that make the data still pan out right. Okay. Russell Carrington Wilson, for one, is an anomaly. The MASH unit that the Niners had last year put them in a position to get a ridiculously easy schedule. They're an anomaly. And the quarterback change in LA for the Rams, another anomaly.
Absolutely.
And oh, by the way, this guy going to Arizona, another anomaly. All
right?
sorts of craziness, right? Oh, yeah, he's back there too, in case you were wondering.
I did see that. I did see that.
Yeah, so, yeah, I know it's insane, but there's enough crazy stuff going on out there that it makes sense. And then you mentioned the NFC East being made up of mostly rebuilding teams. I mentioned the North being mostly rebuilt teams, the South being mostly teams that are screwed. That's where we're at, buddy.
So do you have San Francisco as the number one wild card?
Sure. I can tell you that the bottom is Seattle.
Okay. All right, let's go to the AFC. We will come back to our NFC champion in a minute. In the East, I have the Buffalo Bills. I think that they're the most complete unit in that division. In the North, I wanted so bad to pick the Cleveland Browns, but I just didn't feel like they're going to be quite there yet. I have the Baltimore Ravens winning this division. In the South, I wanted so bad to not pick Clay Travis's team, but when you look at that division, there's nobody else to win the AFC South. I mean, the only one that's going to even have a voice if things work out to me is the Indianapolis Colts. But
their starting quarterback got hurt.
Right. You're trusting Carson Wentz to be healthy. And I live in a region of Pennsylvania that I know better. So I have the Titans. In the West, I have the Chiefs. Until somebody proves to me that they can be better than the Chiefs, it's going to be the Chiefs indefinitely. Mm-hmm. Looking at the wild card, I have the team that if there's a team that's going to prove that they are better than the Chiefs, it's not going to be this year. It might be next year. It might be the following. That's the Los Angeles Chargers. I like the offense that's being built there. I think that team is definitely on the potential verge of something. Saying that, I probably scared them off. My second wild card team is the team that I wanted to win the North. I think it's the Cleveland Browns. I don't see, and like you kind of alluded to it, their biggest problem is the guy under center. There's plenty of talent on that team if you get a real quarterback. And it's not that I don't like Baker Mayfield. I think he is a fun dude. But fun dude doesn't, win you divisions and Super Bowls. And my third wild card team, and somewhere EJ Christian probably just got a weird smile on his face that he can't explain. It is the New England Patriots. I think that, last year they were almost a playoff team with like a second team squad. And now, it's going to hinge on a rookie quarterback. So that's why I was a little nervous to put this team down. But you kind of retooled an offense. You have a lot of defensive guys that weren't there last year because of the pandemic. And I think you also have a angry Bill Belichick that's saying, I'm still here, mother effers. Remember who I am. So the Patriots are my number 3 wild card team in the AFC.
Yeah, no, pretty strong overall. I'm with you too. I have no reason to pick against them at this point, especially considering elements of their schedule. The AFC North is tough, but they also have the NFC East. You could tell me a little about that, can't you, Chief? Anyways, in light of that fact, the Chiefs do have a 13-4 record to take the top spot in the AFC. Right behind them, though tied record-wise, I believe they will lose the tie break, and the Ravens will be number 2. To your point, I wanted to pick the Browns, but I just couldn't. But it's a 1-game difference, and all that has to happen to change that is if the Browns sweep the Ravens. If that happens, then they're going to win the AFC North. So settle down there, Cleveland fans. Next on the list, I have a 12-5 Bills team. That's third, and the Titans, by default, will win the South. I did have the Colts making a compelling case when I wrote my preview on the 3pointconversion.com for the AFC
Ding.
South. That would be the number 3, not the word.
My soundboard isn't working tonight, so I don't.
I got my own bell, mother effer. Bing. Okay. But yeah, when I did write that article for the 3-point conversion, bing, Wentz was still healthy. And then I had to update it because he got hurt before damn camp was done. Right.
Right. Like we knew he was going to get hurt. We at least thought he was getting to week 1.
Right. And I had forecasted, like, listen, as long as he's healthy for the most of it, they have a shot to fight for the playoffs. A la when they had Phil Rivers last year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so much for that. So here's what's tough about my wild cards. I have another 12-win team out west in the Los Angeles Chargers. They're going to be the top wild card. Congratulations, Justin Herbert. After that, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more 10-7 teams. Somebody is going home pissed. I think it's going to be the Raiders based on tie breaks. The fact that I see them splitting their division rather than going 4-2, like 2 of their opponents. And then I think they lose the tiebreak overall to the Steelers based on head-to-head play. I think because the Steelers beat the Ravens during the season, that single game could make the difference. Again, because this is also close, it's on a dime, but it's all a bunch of chatter and all right together. Interestingly, in another head-to-head development, I think the Steelers are ahead of the Miami Dolphins, right behind the Chargers, which means it's between Miami and Ernest Julius Christian's team with their new rookie quarterback, the Pats. I don't think, however, in a twist of fate, that Bill Belichick clears the hurdle. It's going to be on some BS tiebreak that I honestly didn't have time to calculate before the show. So, but when you're going to write down Dolphins, I want you to put a slash on it that it could be the Patriots. But the thing about it with Flores, as I wrote in 2019 for the Dolphins Wire, Flores is going to get these Cats to the playoffs, and he does it this year.
I looked real hard at the Dolphins. I went, man, like that team looked really good down the wire last year, and it was hard. Surprise to everybody listening, the AFC is a harder playoff group to predict. Just absolutely shocking. So let's go back. Let's jump back to the NFC. We get to the NFC champion, and then my AFC champion. I have a hard time not picking the Buccaneers. I think they are just an unbelievably stacked unit. Like you said, they bring everybody back in a full camp year, a full preseason year, let's even get more comfortable winning and feeling happy when we win year. So I have the Buccaneers coming out of the NFC. And in the AFC, in a situation of, like I said, prove it to me when you're better than them. And I think in the AFC Championship, the Buffalo Bills actually do prove, at least on one cold Saturday or Sunday in January, that they are better than the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Bills get to the Super Bowl, but they are not good enough to beat TB12 in February. I think Tom Brady gets number 8. Good God, he gets number 8 in February. I have the Buccaneers as your Super Bowl champion.
You mean Tom Brady's team gets him his 8th? Let's be clear on that.
However you want to put it, that man gets
he ain't done a damn thing to help to decide a game involving the Super Bowl, anything like that. I don't want to hear, but the overtime game. Fools, that was only overtime because Devontae Freeman couldn't make a block. All right, let's be clear about that. Anyways, for me, when it comes down to it, I hate going down paper and picking the Bucks, and I don't blame you for doing so, but because I hate to do it, I'm not going to. I don't think the Pack has enough defense to fill that void either, right? So who else do I have? Screw it. I'm going to have to pick the Bucks, aren't I? Yeah, actually, the only other team I think that might have a fighting chance is going to be from the NFC West, right? It's either going to be the Rams, who have enough offense now because apparently everyone has decided to scoff at Goff, rightfully so. Yes, that's a Jared Goff joke I've been making for years. Thank you very much. And the Niners, because if they're successful, they're so very unconventional in their offense that they may be actually in a position to find to give that defense fits, right? And keep Thomas Edward Bieber Brady off the field. So, but I don't think that's going to happen. At the end of the day, I think both games get eliminated by the Pack in some form or fashion because that offense is too explosive. It goes to a shootout. Agon Charlet Rodgers wins. Rodgers wins. So I got the Bucks for the NFC. For the AFC, I'm picking the Ravens. Don't ask me why exactly. Sure. L-Jack still doesn't have his true wide receiver threat, but he's proven in other games that he doesn't necessarily need them to throw damn near 400 yards. The problem is the rest of the team makes sure that scoreboard doesn't favor them on the stat sheet in a lot of cases. Just ask the Tennessee Titans. And listen, there's plenty of AFC teams who could be first round eliminations or end up in the Super Bowl, and it wouldn't surprise me. The Titans, obviously the Chiefs, obviously the Bills. Any of those cats are Super Bowl worthy teams, and at some point it's just about throwing all the balls into the machine and seeing which ones come out to get your numbers picked for the ticket. That's it. But I'm going to say the Ravens officially. I could be wrong, and God, I'm going to love it when all the L-Jack haters suck on it.
Who wins the Super Bowl?
Do I have to? No. Honestly, the Ravens have been a team. John Harbaugh has been a coach that has traditionally given Tom Brady fits. And the difference this time, I'm hoping they face a healthy O-line. And when that happens and it becomes a shootout, and then the Bucks decide to try to blitz L-Jack and fail, that be what decides the game. I'm going to pick the Ravens because I don't feel like picking the Bucks again, knowing full well that the Bucks will repeat.
Final two things in the NFL prediction-wise, league MVP and who will have the number one pick in the 2022 NFL draft. I feel like the second question easier than the first. Kind of speaking for me, it's the Texans are going to be the number one pick.
That's correct.
I have a hard time believing there's going to be a team worse than them. The league MVP, I'm looking to a team in the NFC West. They're a team that you said could potentially be that team. And they're my NFC West champion. Maybe I'm buying the hype. This is a guy that I've liked for years and defended for years and said, man, if you give this guy a team, you're going to find out how good he really is. And that's Matt Stafford. Maybe I'm buying the hype, but dude, that guy is a baller. That guy is a great quarterback. And he has the opportunity to really, really prove it this year and silence a lot of people.
Most underrated quarterback not named Russell Carrington Wilson. No question. Heck, how do you go from throwing 5,000 yards with Megatron on your team and then after he retires, throw 5,000 yards for your team? How do you do that? How? And oh, by the way, it's the Detroit bleeping Lions that you're doing it with. What the F? Now, granted, I think he improves dramatically. I think he competes for it. I don't think he gets it. It would be trendy to claim that it would be Aaron Charlet Rodgers one more time. But I'm not prepared to do that either. I think I'm going to go in another direction. And I think this time he's going to earn it instead of stealing it from Russell Carrington Wilson like he did in 2019. I got L-Jack. If they make it to the Super Bowl, they're going to do it with the similar circumstances where he has MVP numbers and performance once again. As it's been said before, no offense relies on one man quite like this guy. Yes, even the Chiefs and Patrick LaVon Mahomes II. Let's be clear. He's Michael Vick with accuracy in the air, simply put.
Can't argue with you on that one. And yeah, I would love nothing more to see success in Baltimore and see the Jackson haters finally shut up for once. Finally, I took these from the FanDuel Sportsbook. We're going to look at the team records, over-unders for the NFL season. We go in alphabetical order. We start in the NFC West, the Arizona Cardinals, 8-5. I like them to go over. I think they're going to be one of those teams. Like I said, I have them in the playoffs. The West is the hardest division, but if you're going to make the playoffs, you're going to have to do better than that. So I'm going to go over.
So wait, they say 8 wins?
8.5.
8.5 wins. Okay. Yeah, definitely over. No question.
Yeah. Atlanta, 7.5 under. Easy under.
Yeah. Sorry, Danny Thompson. It's under. Now, granted, you say easy. I have them at 6.
Okay.
But that's mostly because they get 2 games where they're going to split with the Panthers and the Saints. So there you go.
All righty. Then we go to your Super Bowl champion, Baltimore Ravens, 11. I like them to go over, I think. It might not be a lot over, but it'll be over.
Well, I mean, at that point, it can't be a lot over because math. But, I think I have them here at 12. Do I? No, I have them at 13. So definitely over.
There you go. Buffalo Bills, 11. I'm going to go over on 11 as well.
Whoever set that number is very smart in Vegas. They often are. I have the Bills at 12. But if it's at 11.5, I could just as easily lose because I almost put them down for 11-6 myself. I got the over for the Bills.
All right, very good. Carolina Panthers, 7.5. Carolina Panthers. I'll go half over. I'll go 8 wins. But yeah, that's one I wouldn't like to touch.
Oh, dude, I'm not going to bet the farm on it, but I'll definitely think about putting the car on it. Listen, I'm getting my scuba gear. I'm going under. They're not winning 8 games. I don't care if Sam Darnold's there or not. I don't care if they have Christian McCaffrey or not. They're not winning more than 5 games, period.
Oh, all righty. Chicago Bears, 7.5. I mean, I'd like to think that, even at week 3 or 4, when Fields gets the keys to the car, that he's going to be able to do something. But like you said, the salary cap has proven otherwise. So I will, and it's not Fields' fault. It's not Nagy's fault, but I'm going to go under.
It's also the MASH unit's fault for all the injuries they have at the receiver position themselves. And we make fun of the Eagles, right? At the end of the day, I have the Bears at 6, so I'm compelled to say under.
All right, Cincinnati Bengals and returning Joe Burrow, 6.5. I think they're in too tough of a division without looking at their schedule, but I'm going to go a slight under. But I do like where this team is potentially headed over the next couple of years.
So the good news is they play the NFC North. The bad news is they also play the AFC West. So they're playing the 2 toughest divisions in their conference. And by the way, right? Because of that, listen, the Bengals are going to win 5 games, and Joe Burrow and company should be seen as achieving big time when they do so. But they're definitely under in the win total here.
Cleveland Browns, 10.5. Man, that's a sick number. That is a sick number. I'll say 10 wins, so I'll take the slight under.
I have them at 12, so I got them over. But hey, whoever's picking that number knows the hype is there.
Dallas Cowboys, 9.5. If Dak stays healthy, over. If he's not healthy, well under.
Under regardless. Take the fanboy glasses off. If I wanted a fanboy, I'd talk to EJ Christian about the Patriots, okay? Listen, I don't care what happens to Dakota Prescott, okay? I picked him to be 9-8 because I'm a nice guy, and I didn't want to call this division being won again by a losing team, but it may very well happen. I don't see the Cowboys doing better than 9 in the first place, And I think they go 8-9 possibly to tie with the Red Tails to possibly give up the division in Jim's worst nightmare. However, since I picked them to pick 9 or to win 9, I won't go through any of that with you, and I'll just say under.
Very good. Denver Broncos 8.5. This number is too high. That's an under for me.
Yeah, that's not close. Who came up with that trash? That's ridiculous.
The easy. They got to give a couple of easy ones, I guess. Detroit Lions 5. I feel like maybe that's too high. I'll go under with Detroit.
If it's 5.5, yeah, I'm still saying under. I have them 5-12 myself. So
all right. Green Bay 10.5. I think this is an I won't say easy over, but it's going to be an over.
Oh yeah, listen, no. In order to get any higher than that number, I would need to steal weed from Snoop Dogg's stash, for Christ's sake. No, this is an easy over for me.
Houston Texans 4. I'm going under. Are we going to have our first 0-17 team in NFL history this year?
No, because they played the Jaguars twice. So they have I believe, let's see, and I believe they also have one more easy team on their schedule. I got to remember who it is. It's I think it's the Falcons or the Colts. So there you go. Okay. Or not the Colts, I'm sorry. The Falcons or the Panthers. So there's that. And the Jets are on their schedule, I believe, as well. So there's hope.
There's a couple. There's definitely a couple of coin flippers.
But yeah, listen, when I previewed it on the 3pointconversion.com, bing, I had them winning 3. So obviously I'm under.
All right. Then we go to Indianapolis at 9. I'm going to go under. I'd like to say over if Carson Wentz can stay healthy, but I can't have faith in it. So I'll go under.
I had the Colts at 9 before Wentz sustained his first injury before getting out of the preseason.
And that's Wentz with an I, correct?
I see what you did there. When Wentz started wincing, the winds went down. Wow, that's a wicked tongue twister. At any rate, under, bitches. I said it.
All right. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 6.5 under. Easy under.
Definitely. Even when I had Travis Holmes on to talk about the Jags with me on the Beyond the Buzzer show with Danny Thompson, bing, we were saying 5 or 6 wins was the cap for them, let alone the over under. Yeah, no, it's definitely under.
Chiefs 12.5. Yeah, I'll go over. I'll go over 12.5.
This bet is for the true degenerates, and I like it. And I don't even bet. And I think that this is, I know what you're doing here.
It's dirty.
But I got him at 14. Basically, what you're betting on is the health of Patrick LaVon Mahomes II, as well as Travis Kelce. And with all that in mind, I see the Chiefs achieving. I think they will break that mark. I would never bet it because I'm just not that damn brave. But I would pick the over if thus forced.
All right, Las Vegas Raiders 7 wins over under. I will. I don't like that number. I'll go just over.
I think 7 wins is a little low for this group. They have a pretty tough schedule, I'll grant, but it's the AFC West, and those rivalries are just as wonky as some of the other ones we call famous, man. Like, this is a team that beat the Chiefs last year. Let's be clear about that.
That's true.
I see them. I have them at 10 wins and missing the playoffs. So I have to say over.
And we'll have to see what that environment is. Obviously, last year, new stadium, no fans. Now we get fans there.
That's going to be interesting. If it's the black hole again, that'd be awesome. Good point.
It should be fun. Then we go to the Los Angeles Chargers, 9.5. Their team, I said, may push the Chiefs a bit. So I'm definitely taking over 9.5.
Somebody's expecting a sophomore slump from Justin Herbert, and I don't like it. Not because they might be right. It's because they might be right. I want him to succeed, this guy. I don't know why I like him. It's just not fair. But listen, considering the Chargers I have as the top wild card at 12 wins, I obviously have over.
Los Angeles Rams, 10.5. Look, I already said I'm buying the Kool-Aid. I love Stafford. I like this team. I like those cool throwback style unis they unveiled this year. Give me the over.
My prediction has me doing it by 0.5. So I'm going to contradict myself because there's too much going on here. And my statistical anomaly compels me to feel just like I'm doing something wrong there. Take the under on the Rams.
So you do that. So one of them is correct.
Yeah, I know. I just the problem is I'm a data guy and like that there's things not lining up. It's like the Colley Matrix giving UCF the national championship. There were some anomalies that took place.
Absolutely. All right, Miami 9.5. I like it. I like what they're doing. I like what they're building. But for this year, I'll take a slight under.
Guys, don't bet that one. Just don't.
Dude, let it go.
But if you don't take Elsa's advice, I got the over at 10 wins.
All right. Minnesota Vikings 8.5.
God.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch this one either, especially with another COVID season and Kirk Cousins being Kirk Cousins. So I'll take the under.
You know, what the bull crap is if they beat that, it's going to be, you know, on the Lions and Bears being even worse than we thought they were, you know. But I have the Vikings at 6 wins now, so I'm definitely saying under.
The New England Patriots 9.5. Well, I guess if I have them going into the playoffs and I had the Dolphins not, and I took the Dolphins under, I'll give the Patriots the over.
Don't take this one. Stay out of those two teams.
Yes.
I have them both winning 10, so they obviously the over on both. But man, do not bet that ish. All it takes is one COVID outbreak and boom.
Yeah. The New Orleans Saints at 9. I think they have 9 because of just the good feeling name value from previous years. I think it's going to be a bumpy year in New Orleans, especially. I don't even know how long. I think it's like a month. They're not even allowed in their facilities, so it's going to be a bumpy start to the year. So I'll take the under with New Orleans.
The reason why they're at 9 wins is because of one Sean Payton, and that's even before being out Michael Thomas and playing their first game in Jacksonville and all of the above with that. And listen, hearts and prayers and
Absolutely.
Thoughts and prayers out to Nolans and recovering out there in Louisiana and all that. I got in-laws there, so there you go. But I had them at under. I felt like I was giving them the farm, telling them they had 8 wins. So I definitely have the under.
The New York Giants 7. I think this team stinks out loud. I'll take the under.
I put them at 7 wins, so I don't know how to answer that, but I guess it's technically the under by half a win.
No, it's a push.
It's a push? Okay.
It's a push. If you had them at 7, that's a push.
Okay.
The New York Jets at 6. This team stinks out loud. I'll take the under.
Yeah. Watching that team play is like living next to a landfill. You're in a constant state of stench. And Zach Wilson is completely overrated, in my opinion, for where he was drafted. He's not going to save this franchise this year. That's for certain. I have the Jets winning only 2 games. I'm very negative on them. So I obviously have the under.
Well, and let's keep the positive vibes going. Philadelphia Eagles 6.5. This team stinks out loud. I'll take the under.
I have the over, but just barely, because the NFC East as a division stinks out loud.
I can't argue with you there. The Pittsburgh Steelers. This team does not stink out loud, although I'd love them to. I will take, if I had the Patriots at, what did I have them? I had them over at 9.5. The Steelers, I think, just miss. So they can beat that 8.5 and just miss the postseason. So I'll take the over.
Yeah, I got the over too. They're making it in with 10 wins on my docket, so I can't say no.
The San Francisco 49ers at 10.5. I have them as my wild card 1. So I will also take the over.
I have the over by 0.5.
Yeah, it's definitely a slight over. Seattle at 10. The Seattle Seahawks at 10. I have them missing the playoffs completely. So I am taking the under.
Okay, well, you could be one who pays yet again dearly for questioning Russell Carrington Wilson, and that's okay. I don't mind Jim Neese. It's what we do here.
It's not Wilson. It's Pete Carroll. This is to Pete Carroll.
Damn, you went from complete moron to absolute genius on the spin of a middle finger. That's fucking awesome.
I'm that good, Kyle. I'm that good.
Listen, man, I try to avoid using the F word. I was compelled there. I'm sorry. No, man. I'm pushing. I have them at 10.
Okay.
I got nothing else.
There you go. The defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 11.5. I have this as an easy over. My God, easy over.
Tell Snoop to pass me some of his crypto. I'm getting way higher than that bar. I got him at 15. That's definitely an over.
The Tennessee Titans at 9. Well, I have them winning the division. I wanted to give the Colts at 9 and over. The Titans will get to 10. They get slightly over.
I have the Titans at 11. And I could probably find a way to pencil in more wins for them, but in some other games I could find some that I could take it away. Overall, I have the Titans at 11, so I'm over, but that's a shaky one, man. You never know with these guys.
Sure. And finally, the Washington football team, 8.5. They're my second playoff team, so I'm taking the over. I'm also taking into account that if they end up as a division winner, it's because of the injury to Dak Prescott. So, you get in there at 9, maybe 10 wins, but you are the slightest of overs.
The slightest of overs. I have them at the slightest of unders. They have the 8 and 9 mark themselves. The team that the Cowboys will have to beat in tiebreakers to win the division because it'll be won by a losing team yet again. I said it.
I heard it. And you know what? And if that ends up happening, I won't be happy about it. I also wouldn't be surprised because that division, much like some of the teams in it, sucks out loud. Kyle,
pass the popcorn, honey. Help me out.
Kyle, before we get out of here, let people know where they can follow you. Let people know where they can keep track of everything that you are doing. I'm sure we'll have you back again, but each and every time you get a plug, my friend.
Hey, listen, I mean, and I also bring my own bell to the party. So, whenever I talk about, beyond the buzzer, bing, or the 3-point conversion, bing, or hilarity by default, bing, that's what I'm going to do. But of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check me out on the 3-point conversion. I mentioned it earlier. And hey, if you go to the 3-point conversion YouTube channel as well, you can check out all sorts of cool stuff I and my teammates do at press conferences with access that you may not get other places. I'm just throwing that out there. And you thought Gus Malzahn was only worshipped by Paul Feinbaum. You'll hear from him there as well. Of course, also my work with Hilarity by Default in Demosthenes Euclid. We're going to be posting once again in this month, so I'm told, some more action there. We've been kind of off for a bit while Demosthenes gets his career worked out. We've been recording episodes. Trust me, we got a ton in the can. It just hasn't made it to the public yet. So please come to the Hilarity by Default YouTube channel. Check us out. Subscribe. Check out the old stuff because I can guarantee you're going to have a good time, and hit that subscribe when it becomes so fresh and so clean for you. And then, of course, my work with the Captain and Company morning show on oldschool101.com, where I actually act sort of serious and do stuff like, interview mayors and local candidates here in Florida politics. And then also, by the way, cut a fool every now and again as well. You'll definitely see me there this Thirsty Thursday on oldschool101.com. Jim Neeson, honor, joy, and privilege, and bid Matt, aka the Huddle Up AJ Hawk, my best. But until next time, class dismissed.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Yeah, we'll be back next week with more takes, more thoughts on everything. You can follow me at Big Jim Sports. Make sure you're following along with the show at Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook and on Twitter at Huddle Up Pod on Instagram. Subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, everywhere else. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find our merchandise over at whatamaneuver.net. Our home network, of course, NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. And our secondary home is the Leib Sports and Music Network, LEEIB Sports.com. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and go for the win.